or Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, or He's the Most High, but he realizes that, wait a minute, I don't have the right to act as if I'm superior, and I have the right to like dominate and control and just choke off my family. That's not correct, because I'm a human being, I'm a servant of Allah, they're a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He didn't bestow that any power into me where I can somehow say that God has made me powerful and therefore I can be angry at you. It doesn't work that way. And he'll remember that, wait a minute, this blessing that I have with my family, my wife, my children, well, that is from God. It's a trust. God entrusted me with these things, and He wants me to treat them properly. And one day I'll be accountable. I have to say that, okay, God, how is it that I treated the trust that you gave me? I'll be asked about these things. So the prayer reminds him of these things, because he remembers where everything is coming from. So it's necessary, brothers and sisters. If we don't have that, what's going to control us? What's going to keep us in check? We need that reminder. Please recite salawat. Somebody who doesn't, for example, have a connection with the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Like if you have that connection with the Ahlul Bayt, then at least you'll be ashamed of doing something that that they wouldn't be happy with. Like today, for example, today is the day of Wednesday, right? On Wednesday, it's recommended to recite, there's a short ziyarah for every day, where we mention a few of the imams. On Wednesdays, it's the ziyarah for 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th imams. It takes this long, it takes like half a minute or a minute to recite it. It's a good thing to do on a daily basis. If you can't read Arabic, you can read the English translation. In that ziyarah, we remember that Imam Musa al-Kadhim, the 7th imam, is called al-Kadhim. He is the one who suppresses his anger. And so when we read that, we remind ourselves of the Ahlul Bayt. We do ziyarah of the Ahlul Bayt. It's supposed to remind us of their qualities. And me as his Shia, I should say that, wait a minute, how can I be there and have no control over my rage while my imam is known by his quality as somebody who is able to control his rage? So brothers and sisters, what we've shown is that the effects of worship, they play a very important role in keeping us in check. But not only that, they also play a very important role in launching us towards perfection. And what I want to say now is that if somebody really wants to become a perfect person, they really want to do something that no one has ever done before, they need Islam. Somebody made a claim some time ago, and he said that, what would you do? He asked this question. Okay, he said, what would you do if Imam Hussein a.s. was not a Muslim? And he's still done the sacrifice that he did. Would you still commemorate him? Would you still mourn for him the way that you do? What we would say to him is that Imam Hussein Islam did what he did because of his Islam. There's no way that he can achieve the ultimate form of sacrifice and the ultimate form of servitude and dedication and martyrdom had it not been for his Islam. Let me give you the example of Imam Khomeini rahmatullahi alayhi. Imam Khomeini, we're told that in the morning time, before the Fajr prayer, he would wake up and he would start worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if there's a war going on, even if there's threats on, if his son was martyred, whatever it is the case, he'd wake up in the morning and start praying. And his son reports that he would cry so much out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And fear of Allah it's not just a simple notion that, I'm scared that God will punish me. No, it's something much deeper than that. Okay? He would cry so much at the fear of Allah that a handkerchief wouldn't be sufficient to wipe off his tears. He would need a towel. Now the same Imam Khomeini who would be worshipping in the morning, you would see that in the daytime he'd be like a lion. Right? The strength that he would get from his bandagi, from his worshipping, from his servitude, from his Islam, was such that he could do what he did that no one else had ever done before. They say that when the two bodyguards, or the two sort of what do you call them? Those people from Sawak, right? From the national intelligence, the two agents. They come to kidnap him from his home in Qom, and they come at the middle of the night because they want to do the sort of surprise thing and kind of scare everyone, right? Make a big, that kind of like for the headlines to say that Imam Khomeini was snatched away in midnight from his home. So they go and they take Imam Khomeini from his home. And they put him in the taxi, and both of, or in the government car, and both of them, he's sort of like in the middle, and then the two of them are sitting on each side of him. So it's reported that, as they leave Qom and they go towards Tehran, that these two men were shaking out of fear, because the magnitude of the mission that they were, they had Imam Khomeini, right? He's the leader of the opposition. It was too much for them to bear. They were scared to death, right? And it got to the point where Imam Khomeini was looking at them. He's like, calm down, like you don't have to be scared. He's the one. He's like comforting them. He's like, you don't have to be scared. God's there, and just chill out. Yeah. And they're like, they're supposed to be. He's supposed to be the one who's scared, right? But he's not scared because he has that perfection of character. He has that perfection of character where he can be a leader for the sake of performing wajib duty. It's his duty to be the leader, not that he's like campaigning and saying, oh no, please take me as your leader. No, because it's his duty. That's why he steps forth, and he doesn't get tainted by worldly promises of position and power and money and these type of things. So, if you want to see examples, like that's why we have, if you look at our ulama, it's good to read the stories of our ulama. We see how did they achieve greatness. It was only because of their worship, because of their Islam, that allowed them to have those characteristics, that allowed them to flourish and make their souls, broader and able to receive that perfection, to expand their souls, which then enable them to perform such wonderful things, such wonderful acts of service to their Creator and to humanity. That was a necessary part. Islam is necessary, brothers and sisters. Now the other part of the discussion is, what about Muslims? Okay, and that inshallah we'll be covering not tomorrow night. Tomorrow night I want to do a special topic related to Imamat and Imam Ali Islam, but inshallah the night after. Please recite salawat. Please recite salawat. Brothers and sisters, tonight is the 20th night of the month of Ramadan. According to historical reports, it was on the 19th night, last night, when Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam was struck by the sword of Ibn al-Mujna. And we have to remember that Imam Ali's martyrdom was something that was very grave for the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam to bear. It wasn't a light matter. Just hold on. It wasn't a light matter. It was something that was very difficult for them to bear. Even before it took place, even before the sword struck Imam Ali alayhi salam, it was something that they knew about and they were mourning about before it happened. Let me just give you an example. According to a hadith, we're told that one time the Prophet of Islam ﷺ was walking with Imam Ali in the city of Medina, and they came across a beautiful garden. And Imam Ali Islam makes a comment. He says that what a beautiful garden that is. So the Prophet responds. He says that ma ahsanaha. Yes, it's a beautiful garden. وَلَكَ فِي الْجَنَّةِ أَحْسَنُ مِنْهَا. But your garden in paradise is more beautiful than this. So then they walk along, they come across another garden. And the same thing happens. Imam Ali says that what a beautiful garden. The Prophet responds. He says that ma ahsanaha وَلَكَ فِي الْجَنَّةِ أَحْسَنُ مِنْهَا. But your paradise, your garden in paradise is more beautiful than this garden. And this continues until they pass 7 such gardens. Because the Prophet wants to make a point here. There's a reason why this is taking place. After they pass 7 gardens, at that point, then the Prophet stops. And he takes Imam Ali Islam and he hugs him and he begins to cry. And he says, بِأَبِلْ وَحِيدُ الشَّهِيدُ. He says that, may I be sacrificed, may my father be sacrificed for this shaheed who will die alone. فَقُلْتُ يَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. Imam Ali Islam says that, oh Prophet of Allah, what is it that's making you cry? And the Prophet says that, I am crying because of the deep feelings of vengeance and hatred that emanates from Badr and Uhud. Because people whose family was, their fathers and their brothers were killed in Badr and Uhud, these people had hatred of Imam Ali Islam. So the Prophet is crying because of the presence of that hatred in the hearts of some of the people. But then the Prophet says that إلا من that